So-called Super Saturday is just around the corner, and in some parts of the country, lockdown is about to be relaxed in a big way.
But if you're still left scratching your head about what you can and can't do when it comes to pubs, restaurants and seeing family and friends, we've enlisted Alice Beer to make some sense of all the new rules coming our way. Good morning, Alice. So, we are all ears, because this is complicated, isn't it? Nice specs.
Well, I'm certainly not all eyes, so...
Here you are, Philip. You can have these. It is complicated. Yes, it is. But actually, it's common sense too. I got myself into a tears the other day thinking, oh, hang on a minute. Is it two households, one household? It's just a lot of common sense. The confusion arises because the issue of health and public healthcare is devolved amongst our different nations. So Northern Ireland, Scotland, England and Wales have different rules. So that does become confusing. But it's going to be common sense. I'm going to talk you through the whole thing.
Right. Where can we go then?
Where do you want to go? You can go
Alice?
to... We're all going down the pub. You can go to pubs. You can go to bars. You can go to restaurants in England. From Saturday, the 4th of July, you can go out and sit at a table and have a pint or a meal. Full stop. You can do that. You are liberated.
Now, this is England we're talking about because it's different in Scotland. Wales's lockdown they've got a review that's due on July the 9th. Northern Ireland, there's different there because restaurants and bars are permitted.
That's the 3rd.
Yeah, they're opening on July the 3rd. So, are you specifically talking about England here?
Generally, I'm talking about England. As you say, Northern Ireland, the 3rd, indoors, table service only. That's tomorrow. Way, Northern Ireland, getting ahead of us on the game, getting ahead of England on the game. Scotland, on the 6th, bars will open. 15th they're going to open, and Wales it will be reviewed on the 9th. So in Scotland you can be outdoors at a pub or a restaurant. They've got outdoor space from the 6th, but the 15th it'll be indoors. So yes, we're talking generally about English rules here.
OK, so when we get there, who can we go with? Is it going to be particularly sociable when we're there?
I think it's going to be some people's idea of hell and some people's idea of heaven, because you can get a pulled pint. You can go with your household, OK? You can book a table, go with your household and enjoy a meal. You could go with one other household as well. It's basically the same rules that apply to your home. So if you're indoors, you can be with another household. If you're outdoors, you can be with another household, or up to 6 people from different households. But you must still remain socially distanced from that other household. Anyone who's not within your household, you have to stay a minimum of 1 metre away from. So if you're thinking about table arrangements in a pub or a restaurant, you and your household have to be 1 metre at least away from that other household that you're eating with. Now, if the table's nice and wide, that's okay. But if one person's here and then next to you, you've got somebody from the other household, they've got to be 1 metre away. So it's a logistical nightmare. I think baby steps and go with your household. When you get there, you cannot just say, oh, hi, nice to see you. Come and join us. That can't happen. No social interaction with other people from other households. Of course, you can say hello, but you cannot be less than 1 metre apart from them. You've just got to remember that potentially everyone has got the virus and can pass it to you and your family. The staff could have the virus, can pass it to you and your family. You've got to be slightly paranoid about this in order to stay safe. Because if we blow this, and they're all just going to shut quicker than you can down your pint.
What about other restrictions? What about if it rains, going inside, if you're outside in a beer garden? Or what about the loos?
Yeah, well, I'm afraid the forecast for much of the UK is for rain on Saturday. You can't go inside unless there is space. Unless the pub say, yes, we have an allocated space for you. Now, what pubs are doing, it's very complicated. What they've had to do is, there's a 43-page government guidance document that I've downloaded for England, and they've got to just adapt that to their own establishment. Obviously, everywhere is different. So some have put up walls, some have put up screens, made everything separate. Some are allowing you to move from outside to inside, but only if you've got a table booked. You have to work out what that establishment is doing. Of course, you can use the loo, but it will be a journey that you take through a safe space. It's no good going to the loo, budging past somebody else's safe space. It's no good going to the loo if you're going to be encroaching on a member of staff's space. It's got to be a journey that is planned in a direction. You've got to obey the signage, and there will be a lot of signage, believe me. I think pubs are going to look completely different, but you are going to have to plan it. Respect your distance from other people in the pub, respect distance from you and other members of staff, and we're going to be okay, but it's going to be tricky.
But you've got things like touching surfaces and cutlery if you're going to eat. How is that all going to work? I mean, it's fraught with peril, isn't it?
Yes, it is. OK, let's deal with touching then. So if you're ordering a takeaway from your pub and you turn up to collect it, you can't lean on the counter. You can't touch the counter. That's why it's table service only, because of the surfaces. Because if you touch something and then somebody else comes along and touch it, it's a risk of infection. So no touching. You will only get your cutlery when you order food. That will be brought to your table. You will probably get, I mean, it grieves me to say it, disposable little condiments, you know, your little salt and peppers and ketchups that you one-time use. Or you might get them brought to your table, wrapped in something, and then taken away. There's no sharing. There's no, if you're with another table, oh, pass me the, you know, if you're with another family, pass me a fork, pass me the pepper. That can't happen. So surfaces, passing of a glass, the waiter, waitress is going to have to be careful how they do that and how you receive it. I suspect they will be wearing PPE. They will have a tray. You will take your glass from the tray. You have to protect yourself and others.
Alice, so, what about the things like, because obviously it's a pub, people are going to be drinking. I mean, as the more drunk people get, the less they may sort of get a bit sort of flippant with the rules. Who's policing this? I mean, is it down to the venue or is it down to us?
Well, of course it's down to us because, as I said, if we blow it, then we're just going to be back into a very serious and sad situation, and the pubs and bars will be closed and the rate of infection will rise. Of course, it's also the responsibility of the landlord, the person who has that license, because if they serve drinks to drunk people and respecting distance and social distance just goes awry, then they're potentially going to lose their license. But that's always the case. You know, there are strict licensing laws in this country that you can't serve drinks to drunk people. You mustn't let people get completely out of control. And people are going to be, bar owners, pub owners, big chains or independents are going to be very, very, very careful, because otherwise they will have to shut down. This isn't just about us going for a pint. This is about them reopening their businesses. And they've been shut down for 100 days. This is really serious.
But there will be a lot of people who say, do you know what, for the moment, and hopefully as we get through this a little further, that it'll relax a little bit more, it'll make it a little bit more enjoyable to go out. If you, like me, at the moment, probably think, do you know what, that's perhaps a little bit too restrictive, and you want to stay home, who can you have round to your house now?
You can have another household round to your house indoors and enjoy their company around your table or in your sitting room. If you're outdoors, you can have another family or up to 6 people from different households. In Scotland, you can meet up with 2 households outside. Northern Ireland, more similar to us, and in Wales, more limited than us. But you must go onto those government websites and check the details. But, you know, you've got to bear in mind that everything is going to be different inside and outside. So one of the rules for the pubs, for example, is no live music, no loud music, because of the airborne risk. So if you're in your home, think about that too. If you're going to crank up the music and you're so pleased to see another household, another family, that you're all dancing and shouting, airborne transmission of the virus is very, very, very dangerous. So in a pub, the music will be down very low, and that should be the case in your house as well.
All right.
So many things to think about.
So much to think about.
What fun.
I know.
Oh,
yay, super Saturday. So super.
Take it easy and have a nice time.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Alice. Thank you.